Who doesn't love a twist ending? There's just something about having your expectations set up and then smashed to smithereens that makes every moviegoer fall in love with cinema all over again. Luckily, plenty of movies boast enough twists and turns to make our heads spin, and these are just a handful of the films that have done it best. For those out of the loop, Fight Club follows Ed Norton's unnamed protagonist, an insomniac working a job he hates to buy things he doesn't need.
With insomnia, nothing's real. Everything's far away. Everything's a copy of a copy.
After his apartment is blown to pieces in an explosion, he moves into a rundown house with Brad Pitt's Tyler Durden, his opposite in every way. Cool, focused, and ready to tear the world down. But what begins as an unlikely friendship gradually escalates into a bitter rivalry, and eventually a pretty heated butting of heads. To make a long story short, the two start a fight club to help men express themselves and relieve their stress. But it quickly morphs into a full-blown anti-capitalist terrorist cell. By the time Norton's character realizes that he and Durden are the same person, it's too late to stop the plan they put in place. The movie ends with the destruction of the city's financial district, wiping out everyone's debt. In case you slept through 2017, here's the gist of Jordan Peele's super popular, ultra-profitable Get Out. When Chris, a young black man, meets the parents of his white girlfriend Rose for the first time, we come to realize that something isn't quite right with her family. After Chris meets a peculiar black guest at the family's garden party,
"Get out! Yo! Yeah! Yo! Get out!"
Viewers are led to believe that the protagonist is about to be brainwashed into some kind of modern-day slavery, but the final reveal is even more mind-blowing. It turns out that Chris is in the clutches of the Order of Coagula, a cult that transplants the brains of old rich white people into the bodies of young black people.
I want your eye, man. I want those things you see through.
Unlike those that came before him, Chris manages to escape this awful fate, stuffing his ears with cotton to avoid being hypnotized. He fights his way outside and is ultimately rescued by his best friend Rod. This wasn't the original ending, however. Peele also shot a version in which the cops show up instead of Rod, and an innocent Chris is jailed for killing his kidnappers. South Korean director Park Chan-wook made inroads in Hollywood in 2013 after helming two English-language films, the psychological drama Stoker and the Chris Evans-led sci-fi thriller Snowpiercer. While both drew praise from critics, with the latter boasting an impressive 95% certified fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes, most reviewers agreed that Park's best work was done domestically, and the jewel of his Korean filmography is undoubtedly Old Boy. The film follows a drunk named Oh Dae-soo, who's framed for the murder of his wife and imprisoned in an iron-doored hotel room by an unknown man. When he's randomly released 15 years later, he aims to track down his captor with the help of a young female sushi chef who takes him in after his ordeal. The woman and Oh Dae-soo fall for each other and begin a sexual relationship, though unbeknownst to the pair, this is all part of the captor's grand plan. Oh Dae-soo and the young woman are actually father and daughter, which Oh's tormentor takes great pleasure in revealing. The final installment of a trilogy M. Night Shyamalan began with 2000's Unbreakable. Glass reunites Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson's characters David Dunn, aka The Overseer, and Elijah Price, better known as Mr. Glass. Both are banged up in a psychiatric ward alongside James McAvoy's Kevin Wendell Crumb, aka The Horde from 2016's Split, a man suffering from an extreme case of dissociative identity disorder. All three are under the care of Dr. Ellie Staple, a psychiatrist who specializes in patients who have become convinced that they have superhuman abilities. Staple spends the majority of the film attempting to convince the men that they're delusional, and she's pretty convincing. At times, against our better judgment, we believe her.
You've convinced yourselves you have extraordinary gifts, like something out of a comic book. I am here to discuss the possibility that you are mistaken.
Of course she's wrong. It transpires that Staple is part of a secret society that's been actively repressing superpowered people for years. Price is killed by the Beast, and Staple's men murdered Dunn and Crumb. There's one final twist, however. Price hacked the institution's security cameras. Footage of Dunn and Crumb's superpowered showdown is leaked to the public, revealing the existence of superhumans to the world. A film containing one of the creepiest shock twists in recent years, Orphan follows a couple played by Vera Farmiga and Peter Sarsgaard as they try to move on with their lives after the death of their unborn child. In an attempt to save their marriage, the pair decide to go ahead with their plans for a third child, adopting a quiet 9-year-old Russian girl named Esther. At least they're led to believe she's 9.
I don't think Mommy likes me very much.
Hey, that's not true. Mommy loves you.
It's alright. It must be hard to love an adopted child as much as your own.
In truth, Esther is a 33-year-old woman named Lena Klammer, a psychopath with a growth disorder who spent the majority of her life posing as a pigtail child and being repeatedly adopted. Why does she need to keep finding new families? She keeps trying to get it on with the dads. We watch in sheer horror as Esther sets about seducing her new father and proceeds to kill him when he isn't receptive. Check out one of our newest videos right here, plus even more Looper videos about your favorite stuff are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.